Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the December 18th, 2023 meeting of the Albany County Legislature. My name is Andrew Joyce, and I serve as chair of the legislature. Our rules allow for a period of public comment before our meetings. Our rules prohibit members of the legislature from questioning the public, and the public from questioning the members. Speakers are going to be allowed 3 minutes each. But before we get to the public forum, I'd like to take time for the special presentation of a proclamation. I ask Mr. Miller to rise for the presentation.
Tonight to present a proclamation to Gary Vandersey. Gary's been a longtime educator and coach in the Capital Region for well over 51 years. Gary, I'd actually like to come up first while I do this. Come up with me, please. Have him up here, and then I'll talk about him a little bit. He loves the spotlight, if you know Gary at all. Gary and I met 30 years ago when I first started teaching, so we've known each other a few years. Before I get into the specifics about some of the things that he's accomplished, it's not always about the accomplishments, right? I can read all of these great things that he's achieved with his athletes, but for me, it's really more about the impact that he's had. We talk sometimes like, oh, another sports thing up here, but sports is the avenue, really. It's an avenue for people to get with youth and give them the opportunity to figure out how to become productive citizens, to live a really good life. And Gary's really exemplified that throughout his whole career. This is why I went ahead and did this proclamation for him based on all these years of sports. I can't imagine the amount of people, Gary, that has been, the amount of kids over the years. I'm sure there's been a young lady or two, but I think it's primarily been young men, whether they came from really strong families or no families or weak families. Gary's really worked hard to show them how to be good citizens, how to live a good, honest, upfront life, and really just been a leader for them, a father figure, grandfather now figure, maybe grandfather, I don't know. But just really show them how things can be done and done right. And he's been demanding about it, but also sensitive about it. And if you know Gary, that's a funny word to put with him, but no. Demanding about it and exacting and really giving those kids a way to succeed in life. So with that, here's a couple of things, and then we'll have the family come up for pictures too. Gary's worked with youth for over 51 years. Including his years as a teacher and athletic director from 1972 to 2006. I think 34 years teaching, Gary. When he retired from Ravenna Queen Selkirk, when I was able to help him do that as a president. Gary's coaching career with RCS has spanned 5 sports, and football, baseball, bowling, track, and wrestling. If you know anything about Gary, everybody knows the football stuff, but they don't know he's the bowling coach. They don't know he did all those years of track. I think maybe helped start the wrestling program there, right? Almost 700 wins, including 250 wins as a football coach, 13 league championships, 7 sectional championships, and 7 state semifinals. Gary was inducted into the Capital District Football Hall of Fame in 2013. He's been named Coach of the Year 5 times. He was a Section 2 football coordinator, and he's been the state football chairman for well over a decade. Gary's years of service as a mentor and leader to youth that admired and respected him are undeniably valued throughout his community. So therefore, be it resolved that the Albany County Legislature, on behalf of the citizens of Albany County, come together to honor and celebrate the impact of Mr. Gary Vandersey. Have the family come up for pictures, please. I sort of had to feel they've got a lot more important things that they need. This is Gary's whole family, including one of my fellow colleagues, who became a teacher just like him, right, Kim? Yeah. Zach coded this with me. RCS graduate.
Those are great. We're good. Thank you.
Thank you. Real quick.
Round of applause.
You brought the best.
Congratulations again, Gary. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Beston. Bergdorf. Chapman. Clay. Clary. Collins. Camiso. Cunningham. Demolowitz. Drake. Efacoro. Ethier. Feeney. Fine. Grimm. Andrew Joyce.
Here.
Ray Joyce. Kuhn. Lakakis. Lockhart. Murriello. Mayo. McLaughlin. McLean Lane. Miller. O'Brien. Purley. Peter.
Take your time, all right?
Plosky. Reedy. Reinhardt. Ricard.
Where's the Madam Clerk?
Rosano.
Here.
Simpson. Smith. Tunney. Ward. Whalen. Willingham. "34 present."
Madam Clerk, when you're ready, please read the first name.
Carol Waterman.
I just want to start by saying I miss Matthew Peter. I never got to know him very well, but he always was smiling, and his smile was often the first thing I saw when I came in here. And, well, he always seconded things when Andrew needed a second, and somebody else is going to have to step up now on that. But it's hard to look at the empty chair. Anyway, I came here to talk about reparations, and I'm sure some of you are sick of hearing me talk about reparations. But after I spoke with you 3 times about what I wanted our county to do, the state legislature got you off the hook by passing, with large majorities, a reparation bill. And I had asked Nicole to send a copy of the bill out to you. And the bill is asking for exactly what I asked for here. It's on the governor's desk right now, okay? And State Senator Sanders is very hopeful that she will sign it. As a matter of fact, he sounded really happy when we talked. And he also said that he does not want people that includes me as people, to be making calls and getting other people to make calls. What he did say we should do is check the news tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. And he sounded pretty happy about what it was going to be like. Now, State Senator Sanders is from downstate. I hope that we get the news here too. About the bill that I asked Nicole to send you, okay. I want you all to read it, not only because of what it wants, is saying should happen, okay, because I spoke to you about that several times. I think it's a must read because of the shameful and despicable history of New York State, by the way, especially Albany County, in the slave trade, in ownership of slaves, let me rephrase that, ownership of human beings. And anyway, he's confident that she will sign it.
It's
And
time, Carol.
I'm sorry, what?
It's time.
Oh, can I just finish a sentence? Sure, thank you. I wish that I felt more like celebrating, but there's a very long road between establishing a community commission and getting anything done. So I don't feel like celebrating yet, but what I do feel is hope. And I'll see you all next year.
Mark Greenwich.
Hey, Mark. Of course. Yeah. Yep.
Good evening. This is very tough for me. I've rehearsed this over and over again, but I thought I'd have to read it because I'm going to get choked up and it's not going to come out right. So I want to speak to you tonight about your colleague and my friend, Matt Peter. You know, there's a famous line in a song and title of a song, "Only the Good Die Young." And he was certainly the best. And it's so sad that he left us at such a young age. And so suddenly, you know. One thing that he always knew, and I carried on with that, was that he knew the meaning of respect. And in Yiddish, we have an expression, he was a gitter neshama. He had a good soul. He had a good heart. Well, you know, even though his physical heart failed, his soul was good. It was very, it was a good heart he had. He cared about his Judaism. He had a good, he truly cared about people. And I know the first time that I saw him, he goes, I'm Jewish, at least on my mother's side. And that's what counts in Judaism, is when your mother is Jewish. And he was so proud of being Jewish. You don't often get the mix that he had in his life about compassion, intelligence, and fortitude, the way he demonstrated it. I always felt a positivity from him, and I hope all of you did also. When he first, I was really shocked by the way, how the suddenness that he was taken from us. And I just hope that, we'll have someone with his equal, because you can't get better, but of the equal qualities that he has to replace him. So may his memory be for a blessing, And as we say in Hebrew, may his neshama have an aliyah, may his soul have a blessing. Thank you for listening.
Patricia Sibilia.
Good evening, everyone. As most of you know, I'm Patricia Sibilia with the League of Women Voters of Albany County. First, I'd just like to take a moment to recognize the passing of Matt Peters. Last Monday, the Queens Planning and Zoning Board held a public hearing concerning Carver Company's plans for a significant development that rezones residential and that could have a significant change on the character of the town and have an impact on the local ecosystem. The League prepared a statement as it had concerns about the town rushing this project forward during the holiday season without adequate time and information to fully evaluate the plans, and with the final determination planned for the Christmas holiday week. We urged the Planning and Zoning Board to postpone the decision and to wait and invite public engagement after the holidays and to clarify the details, particularly the open agreement between Carver and GE. Starting 1.5 hours before the 7 p.m. meeting, Carver and their stakeholders packed the meeting room, leaving residents who wished to speak waiting outside in the cold until 8:30 p.m. The town anticipated resident turnout, and in what was to be interpreted by some residents as intimidation, had both the county sheriff and local police turn residents away due to space limitation. In addition, there were technical issues with the Queens streaming service, so those interested were not able to view the hearing. The League of Women Voters believes democratic government depends upon informed and active participation in government and requires that governmental bodies protect the citizens' right to know by giving adequate notice of proposed actions, holding open meetings, and making public records accessible. Transparency in government and decision-making and public engagement in discussions are central priorities for us. We feel the public has been offered inadequate time and information to evaluate Carver's company's plans for the property under discussion. To allow the Planning and Zoning Board to keep moving forward without complete information on the project and without proper input from residents is against everything the League stands for. I appreciate your time.
Christine Palomo.
I'm so sorry for the loss of your esteemed colleague, Matthew Peter. I didn't know him, but I read about it in the paper, and I'm very sorry for all of us. My name is Christine Permomo. I live in Queens, and I'm here representing the Clean Air Coalition of Greater Ravenna Queens. I'm here tonight because we want to be certain that this body is aware of the Carver Company's Article 1 GE/LM wind proposal that was submitted to the Queens Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals on November 22nd, and because the Albany County Planning Board is listed as an involved agency in the proposal's EAF. There is a packet in front of you that contains all the relevant information that we have on the proposed project at this time. The Clean Air Coalition of Greater Ravenna Queens and other concerned citizens are speaking out due to the many concerns about the lead agency process, among others. We believe that the December 27th Planning Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, the Planning Board may accept the role of lead agency and then make a negative declaration in seeker determination for the project. They can do all of that in just the same night. If the Planning and Zoning Board is the lead agency and they determine that there is a negative declaration, it means there's no environmental impact, and therefore, no further impact studies will be done or considered. This means that the traffic concerns, stormwater management, air quality, loss of forest, impact to the Hudson River and endangered species and residential homes will no longer even be considered. It means the environmental review is complete and they can go straight to the discretionary decision approvals that they make. And for all we know, they might start making permitting approvals that same night. We and members of the community are advocating on December 27th for a positive declaration. A positive declaration will not stop the project, but allows all concerns to be reviewed more fully and in front of the public with public input. To determine a positive declaration, only one potential impact needs to be declared, and you have documents in front of you that outline 8 of the most significant ones. We're also requesting that the involved agencies that are listed in the EAF documents challenge the Planning and Zoning Board request to be the lead agency, in which case the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation determines which agency will be lead, as the seeker process belongs to them. However, that must be done within the 30-day time frame, which ends on December 22nd. So if this does not occur, the planning board who initiated the lead agency letter is automatically going to become the lead agency. So we are requesting a positive declaration of significance, POSDEC, under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQR, and a 90-day public scoping process. And although this body is independent of the Albany County Planning Board, you do appoint and you do approve the membership. And any one of you can write the Town of Cleveland's Planning and Zoning Board and ask them to have a positive declaration named on the 27th, and also ask the members of the Planning Board to do the same. Thank you, and I wish you all peace and joy throughout the year.
Melmaine Cruz. I don't know where she went. Joelle Foscat. No. Ms. Foscat? No. Ms. Cruz?
Is there anyone else in chambers who wishes to speak? Hearing none, the public forum is now closed. And before we begin our meeting tonight, I wanted to take note of 3 of our members that will be departing us into the new year. They served us well in Albany County: Norma Chapman, Joseph O'Brien, and Peter Tunney. Thank you for your service to Albany County and your districts. Don't sit down just yet, Peter. I'd like you to lead us in the pledge, please. Stand by, folks. We do have 2 post-public forums to do, so immediately following those 2 post-public forums, Peter will do the pledge, and we'll start our meeting. Thank you, everybody. again? Yes. Both. We would like to call our meeting to order and ask Albany County Legislator Peter Tunney to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Mickey.
Scariest for Christmas.
Thank you, Mr. Cleary, for that. Thank you.
I prefer that this be known as my coat of many colors.
Madam Clerk, never mind these rascals. Call the roll.
Beston. Bergdorf. Chapman. Clay. Cleary. Collins. Camiso. Cunningham. Demolowitz. Drake. Efacoro. Ethier. Feeney. Fine. Grimm. Andrew Joyce.
Here.
Ray Joyce. Kuhn. Lakakis. Lockhart. Murriello. Mayo. McLaughlin. McLean Lane. Miller. O'Brien. Purley. Plosky. Reedy. Reinhardt. Ricard. Rosano. Simpson. Smith. Tunney. Ward. Whalen. Willingham. Allison left. I have 33 present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Before we get into our business tonight, I wanted to say a few words about our friend, Matthew Thomas Peter. And we call him Matthew Thomas Peter because when you reach a certain level in your career and in your life, it's not just one name, it's a whole name, and even hyphenated with MTP. I first met Matt in the mid-2000s through the Albany County Young Democrats. And I've been around political people my entire life, and I knew immediately there was something very special about Matt Peter. Intelligent, compassionate, hardworking, and I knew immediately there was something special about him and he was going places. And you can imagine how proud I was and how happy I was that he joined us here in these chambers many years later. But before we move forward with our legislative duties for tonight's meeting, I'd like to address the glaring absence in chambers tonight by our friend. I think we can all agree that Matt had what people refer to as an infectious personality. His positivity was inescapable, motivating everyone around him to strike while the iron is hot. When I think of Matt, I think of a man that I was immensely proud to know. Matt never allowed someone to come to him without leaving a little happier or feeling a little more fulfilled. That is what made him so great at his job. Matt championed causes that impact and changed our community for the better, never once slowing down or taking no for an answer. This tenacity served him well as he worked diligently on fighting blight and decay, improving community parks and playgrounds, and helping the local economy through his patronage at all the Lark Street bars and restaurants. Most notable is Matt's efforts to end the stigma surrounding mental health, spearheading the successful Accord program, expanding the mental health court, and ensuring additional resources were made available for those in need of assistance. A philanthropic man to his core, Matt prioritized securing funding for nonprofit organizations, including In Our Own Voices and the Damien Center, while always advocating support for local small businesses. He was very proud to lead the efforts to establish the craft beverage trail in Albany County, and his time served on the COVID Small Business Economic Recovery Task Force. Through Matt's tireless advocacy for his cherished neighborhood, his constituents, and his county, he embodied the qualities we look for in a public servant: determination, generosity, commitment to a cause, and a willingness to keep fighting for what is right. Matthew Peter approached the mountains in life with a confidence that shrunk them into speed bumps. Matt is gone too soon. That is a fact, and nothing we'll say will make this loss any easier. I wish that his unwavering positivity and drive were still guiding us today. But as we try to live with this painful truth of his passing, the reality of which touches us more each day, I think we can take solace in the fact that we were lucky enough to know Matt, to learn from Matt, and to call him a friend and colleague. He lived every day of his life with a pure and honest purpose, something I'm sure we can all aspire to emulate in honor of him going forward. Ms. McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had the opportunity to meet Matt many years ago when he was managing the campaign for our current mayor. I was on the Albany County Council. A force to be reckoned with from the very first time I encountered him. But at the same time, as a force to be reckoned with, he led with humanity, because I firmly believe, even though he wasn't an Albany native, he loved Albany, and he loved Albany County. And everything he did as it related to interactions I had with him was with that love in mind. Someone spoke earlier about his smile. Carol talked about his smile. Even when you were disagreeing with him, he had that smile on his face. And I always said that no matter what, any disagreements or not disagreements, but differences of opinion we may have had, I always learned something from that, because it was always with that in mind in the work that he did, that we were trying to move Albany forward. We were trying to move Albany County forward. It was not a win-lose kind of a situation, but what can we do for the beloved community that we all share? So I think of his smile. I think of, he was always, let me know what I can do to help you. Those are the words he always ended conversation with me. Let me know what I can do to help you at the end of those conversations. So I honor his memory tonight, and I will have a few extra pieces of chocolate just in his honor tonight, because I think we all miss him. We all are going to miss him. And whenever he sat down to put pen to paper and do work that we have to do in this body, he will never be forgotten. Thank you.
My young friend, Matt served with me on the Board of Finance Committee along for a while. And here, and Bill, Dave, and I'm scared I'm gonna miss somebody.
Yeah.
And this, and also Mr. Caruso. We had some fun evenings sometimes. You never knew what was gonna happen. But Matt, I think the young woman stood up here, I'm calling her young, stood up here and talked about how the chairman could always call on Matt for a motion. Well, I could too. And I can remember one time being at a meeting, and it was a pretty lively discussion going on. Just before Matt went out, he paid this wonderful compliment on how well he conducted himself, in his relationships with the individual that we were meeting with that day. Well, when Matt left, all hell broke loose. And when he came back into the meeting, he said, "Whoa, what happened?" When I left here, everybody was grinning and talking. She told everybody fighting? And that's what was going on. People were screaming, they were walking out the door. But there was one thing about him that I learned about Matt. I went over on Lark Street River one day. Matt could tell me who the local person that was inebriated, and I'm making that a nice term, but he knew who that person was. Matt also knew who the local drug dealer was. He also knew on that street, everybody, so-and-so lives here, so-and-so lives there. I like this place right here because it does this. This one serves this kind of food, Matt. But not only that, Matt knew his people. And he didn't leave anybody out. I didn't hear him say anything bad about anybody. And he was just so much fun. And he was so alive to be around. And the one thing, he reminded me, I have a son that is Matt's age. And I like being around him because my son lives in California. And so it just made me feel a certain kind of way, you know. And that's what I grew to love him, because he would say anything to me. I could say anything to him, but he had such an aura. His spirit was just so, I couldn't feel any hate in him. I couldn't feel any dislike in him. All I could feel was like, boy, it's just great to be alive around this young man. And he just made me feel good. He made me feel happy. I didn't care what we were talking about. When Matt got sick, the week before, he told me different things that, you know, he had to go through. And my daughter had the same operation that he said he was going to have. And I had sent him a text message. In the text message, I had said to him, I said, look, you're going to get whatever it is that you have in front of you, because God has great plans for you. You've made such an impact on people, so you got to stay positive, just like you are, and you're going to come through whatever it is. And the next week, he was gone. And so, I have tears only because when you have personal conversations with people like that, you know you care about it. And having the ability to be able to work with him so close. This race that we're in, I told you, Andrew, I never talked to him about it because he was just so, I just wanted to be happy around him. And I didn't want to lose anything about him. But he was the sweetest kid. And I say kid because, like I said, I have a son this age. So when we look at that candy jar, just try to remember what a nice young man he was, and like how the way he acted, you know, because I don't know how many more young people we have here. Might be these two sitting over here, you know. He was respectful. Never treated anybody out of their title, out of their age, he never did that. So I miss him tonight. I knew when I came in here, every time I came in here, he's gonna go like this to the candy jar. He was always gonna say hello. He was always gonna speak to me. And I saw all of you come up here, including you, Paul, and just dip your hand into that candy jar. And so as we go through this holiday season here, we lost somebody that we really care about. We can say that. We can honestly say that. You know, just remember something in your heart. Just remember that, you know what, tomorrow's not promised to anybody, but it's how you live your life today. And I think that young man lived his life to the fullest. I think he knew what was in front of him, you know what, and he didn't stop. He kept going right until the end. And that's the way we should all live. So, my friend, I'm gonna miss him. And on his journey that he's had here, he did real good.
Okay, on that note, Mr. Reinhardt.
I'm not a real religious man, but in my upbringing, I learned that people come and go, but they continue as long as they are remembered. And I think we can all remember what a special person that was. And I think that it's on us to continue with many of the good works that Matt engaged in. I personally am going to be thinking on some of these votes. What would Matt do? What would Matt think? And in the Christmas spirit of keeping that thought going, I want to start I'm going to call it the Matt Peters Social Movement. We are going to continue to bring in candy and put it in that jar. And that jar will never go away because it will always be full of candy. And that's on all of us to contribute, or at least those of us who want to join the movement. And I think that would be a great way to honor Matt. We'll keep that jar going. It'll be something that enriches all of us through the good times and bad. And I'll make the first contribution to the jar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reinhardt. And yes, Matt Peter will always have a permanent presence in these chambers through this candy jar. We're going to retire his chair. We're going to set aside a place in these chambers for Matt. And yes, it's going to be a place for all of us to gather in Matt's spirit. Matt got along with everybody in these chambers, Democrat and Republican. He worked well with everybody. So when Andrew Joyce needs a timeout, when Mark Grimm needs a timeout, we'll go to the Matt Peter Candy Corner and we'll get some candy. And we'll talk it over. Yeah. Mr. Grimm.
But I want to come in with a Republican point of view. You know, we all come from different places. 39 of us, we have different points of view. And Matt, you know, we had the learning curve when he first came in, because, you know, Democrats in Albany, you don't deal with Republicans a lot. But he really grew, and we had some great debates in the Finance Committee. There's no doubt about it. He's, you know, he has a sharp mind, very energetic, and he was passionate about what he believed in. And after those debates, we were friends. And you know what? We are a family. We 39 members. We all had to get elected to come here, and we are a family. And we're less a family today than we were a week ago. But we do have the remembrance of the candy. You know, it's a touching remembrance, and also the chair. But the truth is, he was a rising star. And he spearheaded this collegial approach that's really going to be missed. And he's had an impact. And I can't imagine what it's like for the family to have such a loss. But it's a great loss for our family, too. And to Matt Peter, I say, rest in peace, my good friend, because you're loved by everyone in this chamber. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Bergdorf.
Can't let Mark have the last word. I only knew Matt for 4 years, but we became closer friends than many of you realize. Often it's said if you go around the hula hoop of life and each start at one end, by the time you get to the other end, you touch again. And so for a progressive Democrat and a conservative Republican to start from one place and get all the way around to the other side and be really good friends, that's a special thing. Wanda will tell you, Dennis will tell you, Jeff Kuhn will tell you, there were times we had screaming matches in the committees over issues that we thought were important. But yet when the day was over, you could go out, you could have a beer. My wife and I could go out with Matt and Kareem and have dinner at the Fort Orange Club. As long as we didn't talk about certain things, we could have the time of our lives. And I'll never forget that. And some of my friends would say to me, how do you, what's the chemistry there? And I thought a lot of it with Matt was he had a whole bunch of different gifts. He had the gift of heart, which he wanted always to do well for people. He had unboundless energy. He was willing to work. He was political in shrewd ways and small p political ways. But he also had, given his background of being a chief of staff and actually running a government and running a multi-million-dollar parking authority, he had the sense of the nuts and bolts that it took to make something work. So that our laws were more than just what somebody put on a piece of paper and told you they meant. He read the words and he understood what they did mean. And he was willing to defend them with his principles. And if they didn't quite mean what somebody told them they meant, he was strong enough to say, that's not right, we should do it a different way. And that was what summarized my relationship with Matt. And I will be adding Skittles and Starbursts to the jar. Not that I'm not partial to chocolate, but I was kidding around. I'm not kidding around. I guess you don't kid around in a situation like this. But on a Facebook post, I said the only thing, obviously send my love to Kareem, but I'm so sorry that I did not accept his invitation to run in the Santa Claus route. And maybe next year it'll be held in his honor, and if it is, I'll run. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
It's on tape.
Okay, folks, thank you. Please be advised that the packet on your desk includes levy information that was provided to us after the publication of the agenda. And to begin tonight, we can group items 623 through 640 as they are all related to the town and town levies. Can I have a motion to group 623 through 640? Motion by Mr. Coons, seconded by Mr. Feeney. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion to group 623 through 640 passes unanimous. On resolution 623 through 640, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 623 through 640 pass unanimous. Okay, 641, please.
Amounts to be levied and assessed for highways, bridges, and miscellaneous highway purposes in the towns.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 641 passes unanimous. 642, please.
Amount levied to pay town budgets.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 642 passes unanimous. 643, please.
Re-levy of unpaid school taxes.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 643 passes unanimous. 644, please.
Re-levy of unpaid village taxes.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 644 passes unanimous. We can group items 645 through 648 as they are all related to the towns and the town levies. Can I have a motion to group 645 through 648? Motion by Mr. Beston, seconded by Mr. Ricard. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion to group passes unanimous. On resolution 645 through 648, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 645 through 648 pass unanimous. 649, please.
Amounts levied for municipal charges for various cities and towns.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 649 passed unanimous. 650, please.
Adoption of table of equalization for the assessment year 2023, county tax year 2024.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 650 passes unanimous. 651, please.
Adoption of partial tax exemptions and amounts determined as the assessed valuation of real property as basis of equalization.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 651 passes unanimous. 652, please.
Adopting county equalization rates for 2023 for the cities and towns within the county of Albany.
All those in favor? Opposed? 652 passes unanimous. 653, please.
Authorizing levies for debit and credit balances.
All those in favor? Opposed? 653 passes unanimous. 654, please.
Amounts levied for court-ordered refunds and county taxes.
All those in favor? Opposed? 654 passes unanimous. 655, please.
Taxes to be appropriated and levied upon the several cities and towns in the county for various purposes and for special district taxes in the towns.
All those in favor? Opposed? 655 passes unanimous. 656, please.
Approval of extension and tax rolls of form and amounts in tax warrants and authorizing their execution.
All those in favor? Opposed? 656 passes unanimous. Item 657 is out of order. 658, please.
Appointment of members to the Board of Commissioners of the Albany County Water Purification District.
All those in favor? Opposed? 658 passes unanimous. We are now on to the consent agenda. Are there any requests to take an item off the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor of the consent agenda? Opposed? Consent agenda passes unanimous. Okay, local law F for 2023 did not come out of committee, so it is out of order. We have some Rule 11s to contend with before we adjourn. Have 3 Rule 11 motions tonight. The first is from the Health Committee and is to amend the duration of a grant authorization. Can I have a motion to invoke Rule 11? Motion by Mr. Joyce, seconded by Mr. Feeney. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion to invoke Rule 11 passes unanimous. Madam Clerk, please read Resolution 673.
Amending Resolution Number 223 for 2023 regarding the Albany County Department of Health Social Determinants of Health Accelerator Plan.
All those in favor? Opposed? 673 passes unanimous. The last 2 Rule 11s are similar. First is rescinding and readopting the adopted 2024 budget. The software used in committee isn't getting along with the software we use to execute the budget, so we'll rescind the budget and then replace it with a version that will work. Can I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Feeney, seconded by Ms. Rosano. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion to invoke Rule 11 passes unanimous. Madam Clerk, please read Resolution 674.
Rescinding Resolution Number 618 for 2023 and adopting the Albany County budget for fiscal year 2024.
All those in favor? Opposed? 674 passes unanimous. Finally, we have one more Rule 11. It's the same we just did, but to appropriate the amounts of budget amendment to correct 2 resolutions we did last month. Can I have a motion to invoke Rule 11? Motion by Mr. Ricard, seconded by Mr. Feeney. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion to invoke Rule 11 passes unanimous. Madam Clerk, please read Resolution 675.
Rescinding Resolution Number 619 for 2023 and appropriating amounts contained in the 2024 Albany County budget.
All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, Resolution 675 passes unanimous. We have one additional Rule 11 on your desks, but the sponsor is no longer here, so it is out of order. But I can tell you we will not be doing proxies at the organizational meeting. Okay. One more cleanup item. We do need to do a long roll call. Which one is it? 674. So long roll call on 674, please.
Beston. Bergdorf. Clay. Clary.
I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm voting on.
674.
It's the adopted budget for 2024 that we had to correct tonight. So long roll call.
You said yes? Clary? Yes. Okay. Collins? Camiso? Cunningham? Demolowitz? Drake? Efficorro? Ethier? Feeney? Fine? Grimm? Andrew Joyce?
Yes.
Ray Joyce? Kuhn? Lakakis? Lockhart? Murriello? Mayo? McLaughlin? Miller? Purley? Reedy? Reinhardt? Ricard? Rosano? Simpson? Smith? Tunney? Ward? Oh, Ward's not here. Whalen? Willingham? Unanimous.
Resolution 674 passes unanimous. Before we adjourn tonight, I want to wish you all happy holidays, happy new year, and we'll see you in 2024. We have a motion to adjourn by Mr. Kuhn, seconded by Mr. Feeney. All those in favor? Good night, everyone.